Let's move on. And this is something that I have never understood. And I'm pleased to say that Botswana was never colonized. And Africa has such an amazing landscape. It's iconic in every regard. The ecosystems, the lay of the land is just unbelievable. It's a place that you go, you can explore, you can tramp around, you can look at so many things that you can't find on any other continent in the world. But yet, for some unknown reason, that aspect of that tourism potential is something that we mess with. And I've never understood why we should do this. I never understood really why other African countries don't appreciate the value of the natural resource. Natural resource is not just mines. But you see, we've come to learn this horrible thing called quick rewards, quick cash, quick money, at the cost of the environment, at the cost of really sustainable natural resources. It's a challenge. But how do we get out of that? How do we move on? That decision to move on is a decision that we as Africans must make. Nobody else can make that decision for us. I found it very interesting when I was looking at the statistics. For example, the 27 statistics saw an increase of 7% on visitors as opposed to the normal 4%. The Mediterranean area had 8%, Europe had 8%, Africa was at 7%. We had shown an increase. Asia Pacific 6%, the Middle East 5%, the Americas 3%. Europe has 631 million visitors per annum. 631. And Africa has 63. That in itself tells you the percentage means nothing. That tells you the percentage means nothing. What we're looking for is to turn that percentage into meaningful numbers. But that comes with a challenge. There is a challenge. And the challenge is obviously connectivity within the African continent. It's the flights, it's the infrastructure, it's the security, it's the disease, it's the corruption, it's the attitudes, it's the jealousy, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. When is enough enough? Are we going to add to this list, or are we going to erase this list and bring up a new list, which will say, you are welcome to Africa. You're welcome to Africa. You know, if my history serves me correct, it's a long time since I've been to school, I believe that the first example of Homo sapiens was in Africa. Why did they leave? What the fuck did we do? Did I say that? Ladies and gentlemen, Botswana from 2016 to 2018, we have won 19 awards. And these awards have come through. So I'll say that again. And it hasn't been easy. Everybody is challenging for the same awards. But imagine if we took the Botswana model. And I'm not saying that this is the model that serves us all, but it's an example of a model. It's a model that Botswana decided was going to adopt to be different. And therein itself lies the answer, is in our difference. Though we're on one continent, we do have our differences, which we should recognize. I am not going to pretend that I can offer anybody a beach holiday. For example, I have the beach, but I don't have the sea. But these linkages are things that we really seriously need to look at and say, how do we open this continent? We can open this continent. But let me tell you, governance. governance is the biggest challenge we have. And until such time as the get-rich-quickly syndrome disappears, we're never going to come out on top. And then we must ask ourselves, if we're going to be satisfied in playing second, third, or fourth fiddle, whichever fiddle you want to play. But the point that I'm saying here is that as visitors to the continent, we appreciate your inquisitiveness of this continent. We must now deliver on your expectations, and not the other way around, where we expect you to come through for something with us. That handout syndrome has to end. It definitely has to end, because this continent is known to be a continent which is where you deposit aid. Now, when we look at the parks that we have around us, you will find the jostling of NGOs wanting to place themselves in respective parks. We know what that's about. I know what that's about. And I don't allow that in Botswana. And I never will allow that, because the communities need to own that resource. And Botswana need to have a benefit, a direct benefit from that resource. But if we misappropriate what we've got from that, we're going to have a huge challenge. And here's how it is. We then find that the challenge isn't amongst others. The challenge is within ourselves. And I'm going to come back to a point about the challenge in ourselves as we proceed.